Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Bowman with my special guest Finn. He's going to help me with my lesson today. Last week we learned all about maps and all of the really cool things we can learn from maps and all of the great features that are contained on maps. And today we're going to start our lesson on animal classification. And what that means is we're going to learn about animals and how they're grouped by like categories and like characteristics. So our first group that we're going to talk about today is mammals. Finn and I are both mammals. How can that be? We're both considered mammals, but he's a dog and I'm a human. So how would we end up in the same animal category called mammals? What do we have in common that would put us in the same group? By looking at us, is there anything you can think of that we have in common by just looking at us? Let's think about that for just a second. Well, one thing we have in common is we both have hair. So I have brown hair, Finn has this awesome white fluffy hair, but we both have hair. And that's one really important characteristic of mammals. All mammals have hair. So that's one way Finn and I are alike. What else? What else might we have in common? Oh, I know. We both have a mom. And our mom was able to provide us milk when we were born. Now, I actually had pictures of my mom and Finn's mom, but I forgot to bring them out. So maybe at the end, I'll put those in so you can see a picture of my mom and a picture of Finn's mom. But we both had moms that when we were born were able to provide us milk. Okay, so that's another way mammals are similar. It's a similar characteristic. A third thing mammals have in common is that they all have backbones. So a backbone is your spine. And I can feel Finn's, it runs right along his back. That's why it's called a backbone. So if I just feel along his back, I can feel the bones that he has there. It's called his spine, like I said. And if I just lean over just a little bit and rub my hand down over my back, I can feel the bones in my back. So we all have backbones when we're mammals. So we have backbones, and one more characteristic that we can't see by looking at us is that Finn and I are both warm-blooded. And that means our body temperatures stay constant. They remain the same. They don't change unless we get really sick, and then maybe we get something called a fever. But otherwise, when we're healthy day to day, our body temperature stays the same. I don't have to go out in the sun to get warmed up. I'm always going to have the same body temperature, again, unless I'm feeling sick for some reason. Okay? So that's another characteristic of mammals. And then some other characteristics of mammals are that we're born alive. Mammals don't hatch from eggs. So I was born alive, Finn was born alive, other mammals are born alive. We also breathe air through our lungs, and that's another characteristic of mammals. If an animal is a mammal, they breathe air through their lungs. And then one little fun fact about mammals is that bats are mammals, and bats are the only mammal that can fly. So that's kind of a fun fact about mammals. All right, so if we can, I'm gonna let Finny down since he's been such a good boy, way better than I thought he was gonna be. I'm gonna let him go ahead and go. And I'm gonna ask Danny to just kind of pan down here to some of my animals that are on the floor. Here's a group of animals I pulled from my kids' toys that I had. And looking at them, guys, if I give you just a minute to look at the animals that are here on the ground with me, take that minute and see if you can determine for yourselves which ones you think are mammals. Based on what we just learned about mammals, we know that mammals have hair. And that's the easiest thing to see when we're looking at a group of animals here. Would they have hair? Do we know them to have hair? Now I know these are pretend, but in real life, we know a lot about some of these animals. So we can make a pretty educated guess as if they have hair or not. So mammals have hair. They also were born alive. They didn't hatch from an egg. So that's usually pretty easy for us to determine as well. Their moms provide them with milk when they're born. That's a third characteristic of mammals. The fourth characteristic of mammals that we know about is they all have a backbone. So if we were to feel their back, just like I did with Finn, we would feel that there are bones there, a spine. And so we know that mammals have backbones. That's obviously a little tricky for us when we're just have a group of toys in front of us, but we have to really use prior knowledge, what we know about these animals already. Okay? We also know that they breathe air. They mostly live on land, so that should help us as well. And they're warm-blooded. Now that's something that just by looking at them, that won't help us very much, but it's still a really important thing to remember about mammals. Okay, that characteristic is really important. All mammals are warm-blooded, which again, remember, that means their body temperature stays the same. They don't need the sun to warm them up, for example. Okay, so looking at these animals, you've had just a minute to kind of look at them, and if you guess that a lion is a mammal, you're correct. Like, just look at that lion. He has a huge mane of hair, right? So we would know that a lion is a mammal. If you guess zebra, you're correct. Zebras are also mammals. I'll put him next to his buddy there. They're not really buddies in the wild, though, are they? If you chose a monkey or a chimpanzee, you're correct. They are also mammals. A panda bear is a mammal. A tiger is a mammal. Tigers have hair. They're warm-blooded. They have a backbone. They breathe air through lungs. And they were born to a mama who could give them milk. If you guessed giraffe, you're correct. Giraffes are mammals too. If you guessed that a cow is a mammal, you're right. Cows are mammals. And we know for sure cows give us milk and they give their babies milk. If you thought an alligator or a crocodile was a mammal, we would be incorrect if we chose the crocodile or the alligator because they do not have hair and they spend most of their time in water, but they have scaly bodies, so not a mammal. A shark, not a mammal. What about a penguin? This one was tricky for me at first, but then I remembered, oh yeah, mammals have to have hair, and penguins have feathers. And I also remembered that mammals have to be born alive, and penguins hatch eggs. So a penguin cannot be a mammal. Same thing with turtles. Even though I really love turtles, they're not mammals. They have a hard shell, they don't have hair, and they hatch from eggs. So we could not classify them as mammals. We'll learn about their classification system next. Here's a flamingo. Flamingo's a bird. Doesn't have hair, has feathers. So right away we know cannot be a mammal. And last but not least, our little friend frog. I'm not a big fan of frogs. If this was a real frog, I wouldn't be sitting here because they're very unpredictable and I just don't like that. So when we look at frogs, we have to think, do they have hair? Definitely don't have hair. They have very wet, slippery skin, right? So they do not have hair. And we also know that they are not born alive. They come from eggs, okay? So frogs, not mammals. So here's a small group of mammals, you guys. There are thousands of different types of mammals on our planet, and eventually we'll start posting them on our map and learn about the types of habitats that they live in. But that's another day, okay? So really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and review the vocabulary, just a few of the vocabulary words we talked about today. We're talking about the animal classification group of mammals, and these are some of the words we might hear when we're talking about mammals. We are talking about the word classify. And when we classify something, it means we're going to group objects or people or animals that have similar qualities or characteristics. So just like we grouped those groups of animals, they're all grouped by the fact that they are mammals. Okay? Vertebrate. That's an animal that has a backbone. And you'll hear me use this word in my next few lessons. I'll start using the word vertebrate to refer to animals that have a backbone. And then the last vocabulary word for today was warm-blooded. And those are animals that maintain a constant body temperature. And constant means stays the same. All right? So I hope you guys loved learning about mammals today. I'm actually going to send another link in Dojo after this lesson link to a short video that you guys can watch about mammals. And I hope you like it. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.